people, lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom eagle when you...
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, and let's talk about Halloween Havoc 2021. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, this is AEW Dynamite from October the 27th. Maybe I should... No, I'm not going to do a second take. Never mind. All right, so let's talk about AEW Dynamite from October 27th. And if you wanted to wash your eyes out with bleach after watching this match, I don't blame you. If you watched this show and got to the main event and just decided to pluck your own eyeballs and eat them like that guy from Dynasty Warriors, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I would suggest you don't do it, but I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And you know what? I said all that, and I'm still going to give it a pass because it's Halloween. It's like I said when I told everybody last week, Halloween Havoc was going to be full of stupid shit, and then it was. And I was like, I gotta excuse it. It's Halloween. WWE does crazy Halloween, Christmas. Guys get assaulted with Christmas trees. There's dudes who usually get, hit with pumpkins. What was that episode of, what was it? Was it Raw or SmackDown where Cesaro had a pumpkin on his head? I mean, we gotta accept that not wrestling is not what it used to be. It's the era of food fights, guys playing dress up, and et cetera, et cetera. But I will say this, and I feel like this is the appropriate thing. I am truly disappointed in Adam Cole, mainly because when everybody was talking about all the terrible things that WWE was going to do to Adam Cole, they was going to make him a manager, they was going to cut his hair, they was going to change his name, all these horrible things that, of course, there was absolutely no evidence. And when he's asked about them, he's like, I ain't never heard nothing about that. None of it made any sense. Since he's come to AEW, him just being another one of the guys who is doing all the things that the Elite does, he's just hanging out with them. Whatever they do, he goes along with it. He's out there dressed like a Ghostbuster too. He's, doing the quadruple body block thing, involve all of the silly stuff that they're doing, completely and totally shitting on everything. No wonder WWE did not care about all these guys going to AEW. These guys go to AEW and they get under. They don't really get over. There is no excuse of why they've had Adam Cole for almost 2 months. And he has not done anything of note yet. But he's playing dress up with his friends, which is with me, my lonely small YouTube channel. I told people, I'm going to keep telling people that I said things. I told people that when Adam Cole, all he wanted to do was go play with his friends. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. They aren't there to compete. I told people Bryan Danielson just wanted to wrestle matches. For him, it ain't about a competition between WWE and AEW. He just wanted to wrestle guys he ain't never wrestled before. And that's exactly what he's doing in AEW. I told guys CM Punk wasn't going to make that big of a deal. He didn't. Initially, he did. But that was often, of course, he's back from 7 years. Things have died down. CM Punk is a normal member of the roster now. And Adam Cole, they've done the same thing. Adam Cole was the youngest of these guys that they brought in. The most, pushed of the guys that they had brought in, even though Bryan Danielson was wrestling, Roman Reigns at main event WrestleMania, he still was not as pushed, not as heavily as Adam Cole was in NXT. And this is what they've done with Adam Cole. They've taken him fresh off WWE TV, fresh off of a feud with Kyle O'Reilly, which WWE put so much money and effort into. They took him and imported him into their show. And instead of making him cool and interesting and surrounding him with storylines that he could, play into and do fun pro wrestling stuff, he is legitimately the third member of the Young Bucks. And that's his entire gimmick in AEW. He is the third member of the Young Bucks. And out of this whole nonsense A lot of people playing dress up. Constantly. This isn't the first time that the Elite has played dress up, of course. They played dress up not too long ago when they was doing, Space Jam. He just slides right into their spot. He fits right in. He's the same size. He's got the same sense of humor. It's all awful. That's the one thing about all this that disappoints me more than anything. I knew AEW was horse shit from the beginning. I knew it was horse shit. And I didn't care. Look, outside of New Japan and Ring of Honor, and I guess you could say MLW, most pro wrestling is silly as shit nowadays. It just is. And I'm a big fan of the new generation era, where there was Doink, when there was Crush, when there was Adam Bomb, and I didn't like none of those characters except Doink, by the way. But they existed, Then there was Salvatore Sincere, there was Mantar, there was Bastion Booger. I have a soft spot in my heart for that era because that was my childhood in the early to mid 90s. When I became a teenager, I became a teenager just as the business matured. But just even though the business has matured, it was still a lot of silly stuff in the Attitude Era. There was still a lot of people getting hit in the face with pies. There was food fights. There was Val Venus and the Blue Meanie and all kind of stuff going on. Wrestling is just silly now. I've accepted it. Okay? I'm not going to take the L on this one. I'm not going to pretend that I bought into sports-based presentation. The moment they signed Orange Cassidy, they blew that up. Only thing I'm upset about is Adam Cole being completely wasted when they had a huge opportunity there. And to be quite honest, of course, the wrestling media for being complete and total hypocrites who complain about anything that WWE does when they try to be quote unquote fun. They shit on it repeatedly. This is stupid and it's for kids. Then AEW does it. It's just like, it's pure fun, man. AEW is just a fun show. They just have fun out there. And you're just kind of like sitting on the sideline, watching these blue check marks, full of shit, insult your intelligence. As if that shit wasn't on a Monday, they wouldn't complain and talk and wish that the ratings was low as hell. It's awful. It's all awful. That stuff, to me, is more poisonous and is actually worse for wrestling than guys playing dress up on Halloween. Having a shill media is absolutely worse than the wrestlers not taking the business seriously. Because I can turn the TV off if the wrestlers aren't taking the business seriously. But the wrestling media spreading propaganda, even to people who barely watch the show or even don't watch it, they getting pumped full of propaganda that this show is so fun and everything is so great and everybody's having so much fun and wrestling is fun, guys. And pumping that crap into people. Because the problem with it is the same problem with all fake news. It leads people down the wrong path. This shit sucks. Okay? It sucks. But it's Halloween. And so I'm just going to be like, all right, whatever. It is what it is. It's Halloween. There's no excuse for one man to ride another, though. I mean, that one member of the Dark Order, what was it, Uno? Was riding one of the Young Bucks and spanking him. And at that point, I walked away. I came back just in time to see Hangman Page take off his Stay Puft Marshmallow Man hat. The crowd go crazy over it. And I just say these people will cheer anything. They like everything. It's like you have the taste of a competitive eater. Competitive eaters don't even taste the shit that they eat. They just eat the shit, right? They don't have time to savor because usually competitive eating has a time limit. So they just and it's completely non-discriminate, And that's how AEW fans are. They just consume product and sit back and wait for next product. That's why their audience look the way that it does. It's awful. Awful. But not everything on this show is bad. After 10 minutes, I had to get that out of my system first. Because normally I want to try in some way of telling, of taking the business seriously. I want an element of that. Even in your silly stuff, take the business seriously to a degree. I can't have you completely making a mockery out of the shit not only the shit that I cover, but the shit that I've watched forever. I mean, taking the complete and total piss out of it is, it's not demoralizing, because that means I would be too tied into it. I'm a little too detached to be demoralized, but I do understand that there are people who are. There are a lot of people who believed in AEW and thought it was going to be different and thought it was going to be sports based. It was going to be like New Japan, but in the United States. It's going to be a big budget Ring of Honor. That's what they thought it was going to be. And this is what they get. You know? And Ring of Honor, to its credit, even has some silly stuff in it with Danhausen, the PCO. You know? So, there's even some silly stuff there. All right, 10 minutes of that. That's enough. Let's get into something that was actually good. CM Punk versus Bobby Fish. This match ruled. This match was pretty good. Bobby Fish was laying his kicks in. He was laying his strikes in. And this is a match where guys took it seriously. CM Punk and Bobby Fish could have went to high school together. You know, back during, segregation. These two old bastards. And I really enjoyed their match. I thought, this might have been, for me, the second best CM Punk match since he came back. I don't think it's better than Darby Allin, but I think it's been better than everything else he's done so far. And Bobby Fish being the veteran, these two guys likely knew each other from Ring of Honor. Okay. They really went in there and killed it. I, again, got to give Bobby Fish credit on his strikes. His stuff looked really good. And he looks like an old-timey, oil baron. But, he looks like the Monopoly man or the guy on the Pringles can, But he's a really good pro wrestler, I mean, he looks like he wants to, cut your head open to see if you're a criminal or something like that. He looks like he sells snake oil, but the guy's a hell of a pro wrestler, man. And he looks reinvigorated. I think this is the best he's looked in a long time. And Bobby Fish has been everywhere. Like, since he was released from WWE, I've seen Bobby Fish pretty much pop up everywhere. And this is the best he's looked. He is actually on MLW tonight, too. He wrestled Lee Moriarty. But this is the best he's looked in a long time. And CM Punk gave him a lot. He gave him a lot. And in some case, I would say CM Punk gave him way too much, because it's been gotten to the point where CM Punk is wrestling damn near 50-50. Sometimes he's even coming from underneath against these guys who really aren't going anywhere. Like, unless Bobby Fish is going to be a contender, I don't see why CM Punk needed to go almost 20 minutes with him and then let him kick out of the GTS. Like, to me, that's a bit excessive. It's like, I can get the length of time if we're going to, again, it depends on what you're doing with Bobby Fish. Where's Bobby Fish's upside? Where is he going? I don't see him being world champion. I don't see him becoming TNT champion. I don't see him doing much of anything. Again, he's had more matches and he has not cut a promo at all. So I don't know where his trajectory is. And as far as CM Punk is concerned, I'm guessing the hope is for him to one day be the world champion, right? That would be the goal, right? So he can have tough matches, but they need to be against other contenders. If he was having a tough match with Hangman Page or MJF, that would make sense. Him having tough matches with guys who aren't going to be in the main event scene, I don't know if that's a smart decision. I don't know if that's smart. But the finish was a little weird, which I believe is setting up a rematch. So he hits the GTS finally after, Fish countered it the first time into a dragon screw leg whip, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. Very cool. Then it was like 1, 2, 3, and then Fish kicked out at 3. Punk looked a little confused. I was thinking maybe Fish was supposed to kick out and he forgot or what. I don't know. Kind of wonky on the finish, but the match was excellent. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thought that worked. Then Malachi Black, he comes out, he cuts a promo. Well, he cuts a promo backstage. And he's talking to our good friend Cody. He talks to Cody and he says that he made Cody lose faith. He divided the Nightmare family, made the crowd hate Cody. And this was not about pinfalls. It was not about wins and losses. Which of course blows up the concept that wins and losses matter in AEW. But hey, they're doing, these guys, Cody is always doing his version of WWE. It's like, it just is. He's just always doing his version of WWE. So, speaking of doing his version of WWE, he's now doing his version of John Cena. He comes out there later in the show. Of course, he's getting booed out of the building. And he's like, I hear you. And I hear the old managers yelling at the clouds. And I hook one arm. I hook the other arm. And I say to myself, I could do that move. I thought about doing a different move. I thought about breaking that covenant between you and I and challenging for the world title. I thought about doing it. But I didn't. You want to know why? No. Which was hilarious. I didn't do it because it was too easy. It was too easy. And then he says, he gets real dramatic on him, right? Cody. Cody. He gets real dramatic on him. He started going full Les Miserables. Walk a mile in my shoes. And he kicks his shoes off and throws them into the crowd. Walk a mile in my shoes. You have to understand where I came from. I was raised in front of you people. I debuted in front of you, skinny, 20 years old, with no knee pads. Now I have a wife that's too good for me. I have a daughter that I don't deserve. And this man, Arn Anderson. I don't know, sir, if I ever told you. And I'm just sitting here at this point, and I'm saying, like, look, man. Martin Scorsese ain't watching this shit. Okay, Roger Ebert ain't watching this shit. This is a pro wrestling promo. Get to the fucking point. All right, get to the point. And he says, I'm not taking the easy way out. I will not turn. Wait a minute. So then he continues. He says, this sounds a little cringe, but I love you guys. I love you guys my whole life. And if you thought I got a little too Hollywood, I apologize. I apologize to you, Arn, Tony, Brandy, Nightmare family. I apologize. I apologize to all of you. And then here comes Andrade El Idolo with his horrible English. Cody. The people don't like you, Cody. Then he says, the people don't like me, but I don't care about the people. I felt like I had did 100 sit-ups by the end of this promo. I was chuckling my ass off. These guys are fucking hilarious. Who gave Andrade a live mic? Why would you do such things? This Cody. You will make a stupid decision. First, your stupid tattoo. And everybody laughs. Because it's true. The best comedy has a kernel of truth. Cody's tattoo is dumb. The second is getting your mind in my business. Look at me. I'm Andrade El Idolo. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, this guy, look at me. I was like, what the fuck? What are we looking at? Guys, look like he sells coke from Miami Vice. And he's like, and he says something about making Cody his bitch. And it all went downhill from there. Because here comes, the lights go out. This is the second time maybe even the third time in this show where the lights got turned out. They love turning the lights out on this show. It's like Tony Khan has a problem with the light bill or something like that. He's going to keep turning the lights off every few minutes. Malachi Black, of course, appears. He spews mist in Cody's face. He mostly missed it. Then they jumped Arn Anderson, beat him up. Jumped Cody, beat him up. Nobody from the Nightmare Family came and helped out. But Pac did. Pac runs to the ring. Does his cruiserweight stuff, which is, forearm shivers that look weak. Back kicks that, look okay. Running kick. Andrade bumps. Goes outside of the ring. Pac does the moonsault, lands on his feet, sits down, like Malachi Black. Gives him the finger. And I was just like, I don't get none of this. I don't even see how these characters are. I don't see how these characters are connected. Why is Malachi Black and Andrade friends? What about their characters are similar enough that they should be friends? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. And you know what? I don't think they know either. And I don't think they have the guts to ask. All I know is Cody's promo was hilarious. It was really bad. It's the same as John Cena. John Cena was, never. I never give up. Ba 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 ba. Cody, you're not Homelander. You're not Captain America. You're not John Cena. You're just Cody. You're the American Dream. Well, the American Nightmare. I'm sorry. Just be yourself, man. I don't know. What is it about this heel turn that got Cody so tied up that he's acting like he's too good for it? Like, it's okay to not want to turn heel because you don't want the crowd to write the show. But, why are you so against it? It's like, and I get it. I know that they're spoiled brats, and the moment Cody does turn, he's going to get cheered. And like he said, that's easy. It's easy to get cheers to just do horrible stuff. But somebody like me wouldn't be all that impressed by Cody turning, quote unquote, turning heel. He's still Cody. He's still going to come out there and cut his melodramatic promos. He's still going to start going like he's something out of Rent or Cats or something like that and start doing these horribly acted promos. I mean, it is what it is. I like Cody. I think that there was a point when he was the best talent in AEW because he took things seriously. He said what was in his heart. And even though what he says is scripted, I don't care. I don't care about scripted promos, to be quite honest. I don't care about the dramatics in his promos. I just like making fun of it. It's like I like making fun of the dramatics in the WWE promos. Go ahead and do your thing, man. I'm going to make fun of it, even whether it's good or bad. But this promo wasn't particularly good because he tried to build sympathy with the audience who didn't care. And he he kicked his shoes off. It threw him into the crowd. It did the rest of the promo in his socks. My God. Oh, baby. Cody. Look at me. All right, let's move on. So MJF defeated some guy named Bryce Donovan. Very short, very good, very short. MJF then went into his shtick, which is spent a couple of minutes shitting on Boston, calling it a shithole. Says that, two things he does well is pinning shoulders to mats and banging rats. He don't want to do the latter because Boston women are fat, ugly, and stupid. Said he'd rather put his dick in a blender. Then he says that Darby is too scared to come to work and that he knocked out his creepy poppy Sting. And that, now that Darby's out of his hair, he's going to go back to being world champion. And after Full Gear, he's going to be focusing on his destiny. This led to the Sting music playing, but it turned out it was just a rib by MJF, who completely overacted on the laughter, even taking a bump and going down and laughing and kicking his legs. Then a Rio video happens as the lights turned off, and there's a guy in an MJF paper mask who gets double drop kicked by Darby Allin on the stage. I don't know what is going on here. I think it was like some kind of rock concert. And I'm like, Why? Didn't care. Then Sting appears, baps Wardlow right in the face. They beat up on Wardlow and the other guy. Who, you know what? I'm going to Voldemort that guy. Fuck him. I'm not putting no effort into remembering his name. MJF flees. He goes outside the ring. There's Darby Allin in the trench coat. He like, ah! He turns around, runs away from Darby Allin in the trench coat. Darby Allin and Sting beat up Wardlow. And he who shall not be the original 10 guy. That guy. And I know his name. We're not gonna waste everybody's time on his name. I don't want to give him, he's not over with me. He sucks. MJF flees. And Darby then, with a very weak voice, challenged MJF to a match at Full Gear. So, okay. That match will happen. I don't care. I mean, I like the match, but what is it for? You know? It's like there's the two young guns of AEW are going to go in there and beat the hell out of each other. Okay, cool. But what does the winner get? The winner gets nothing. So it's just pride, I guess. And I definitely think Darby should win the match. I don't know. But maybe not, because if Hangman wins the title, I think that MJF would be a better opponent. So maybe MJF wins. And you have MJF and Hangman as a feud going forward. That would actually be not too bad, right? So, but all right, whatever. All right, so we got to talk to Britt Baker, DMD, who apparently has nothing going on. Apparently Britt Baker is supposed to wrestle Abaddon on the Jericho Cruise. When was the Jericho Cruise? I don't know. It's random. As you know, we hear that she walked out on the match on the Jericho Cruise. So now we do countouts and disqualifications, but only in non-televised matches. Or is this like Pat Patterson's win in Rio de Janeiro that it didn't happen? I don't know. Who cares? But this means that she's going to be set up with a match against Abaddon on Rampage in a trick or treat street fight, which I feel like we already had on Halloween Havoc. And if Abaddon wins, she gets a title shot, which of course means she's not going to win. Abaddon's been gone for months. I don't know where she's been. I know she's lost some weight, which is good. But she's been gone for months. I have no idea where she is. And her first match back after being off Dynamite. To me, Dynamite and Rampage are the only two TV shows. If you're not on either one of those shows, you ain't been there, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's like being in class. If you ain't signed in, you weren't there. Even if I saw you there, you're not signed in, you're not there. All right. So she could have been on Dark wrestling 100 times. If she ain't show up on Dynamite or Rampage, she wasn't there. So, her first match back is going to be in a garbage match. A stipulation, because we got to have a match with weapons and stuff without storyline being attached to it. They tried to, microwave a storyline, but come on. I can see through that shit. And my vision is terrible. Britt Baker is really... They are in their attempt to overprotect people. Britt Baker has no opponent, right? What now? You had her go through and beat everybody. Now you have to heat everybody up, but now you got this tournament going on too, because now you got a secondary women's title. Who is Britt Baker going to wrestle at the pay-per-view? Or is she not going to have a match and it's just going to be the TBS title match? I mean, that didn't sound like it makes sense, because Britt Baker is your top star, right? That makes sense. Put your top star on pay-per-view. But there's no opponent. Oh, she is. She's wrestling Ty Conti. Fuck. I forgot all about that. Well, I guess we could, I could edit out that whole thing. I'm not going to, because it ain't worth it. Who cares? We all make mistakes, bro. We all make mistakes. Ethan Page versus Sami Guevara. This match, I yawned during this match. This match was boring. And I know that people are going to be like, what? You think Sami Guevara has no personality. And he's all offense and no selling and no psychology. So he's always running a mile a minute. He got almost all the offense in this match. If you watch this match, for instance, there was at no point they took time to let Ethan Page get any heat. There was almost none. He almost got no heat. Anytime he did anything, Sami Guevara either countered it, got up almost immediately, and did something else. And he was on offense for most of the match, pulling out it was like watching a video game. Because this guy just did everything. He did a corkscrew drop kick. He did a shooting star press clothesline outside the ring. And it was like, oh. It's like, how did these things even go together? What is the story of this match? There isn't one. The story of this match is that Ethan Page is a complete and total schlub who Sami Guevara is running circles around him. And when he does have offense, it's shoulder tackle and body slam. And you're like, man, get the fuck out of here. This match is too long for that. I would have rather, Sami Guevara just plain beat him in a squash match rather than sit here and watch, Sami Guevara completely empty the chamber on this guy and then win with a counter wrestling move. After you hit the guy with 1,000 finish holds, Spanish flies and corkscrew drop kicks and running somersaults and all this kind of shit, you beat him with what they call it? I think it's called a shotgun pin. It's like, come on, man. I wasn't feeling it. Sami Guevara only has one gear, and I like my matches a little bit more layered than this. Some people may get off on like that Young Buck style of just go, but I don't really care for it. Tony Nese was watching this in the crowd, and they keep talking about how he's the newest, hottest free agent signing, or the newest, hottest free agent. They must not have heard about Ring of Honor yet. And in any event, he's already been on Dark, so he's already debuted on AEW. So they're lying to the people. After the match, Ethan Page jumped Sami Guevara, and then Scorpio Sky ran down there and did it too. Inner Circle, they waited until the music started to play, and then they got pyro and music just to save Sami Guevara. Jericho gonna get his shit in, dog. He gonna get his shit in. He ain't gonna be one like everybody else out here screwing around. He gonna get his. So Jericho called them the jackasses of the year. Said he respects Scorpio Sky because he beat him twice, or Scorpio Sky beat Jericho twice. But the only thing Ethan Page beats is himself in hotel rooms, which led to a beat your meat chant. Beat your meat. Beat your meat. Then he says that the 5-on-5 will be a street fight. And next week, we're going to pick the 5 members of American Top Team that we're going to beat up at Full Gear. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, is there 5 active members? Who could it possibly be? KB Paige Van Zandt, that's a woman. So it has to be Junior Dos Santos, or Jorge Masvidal, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Dan Lambert, right? Dan Lambert going to have to wrestle in the match. So it is what it is, And of course they're going to build up to Lambert taking a bump and maybe being the guy who loses the match. So whatever. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I'm not paying to see Lambert wrestle, And since you've already shown me Junior Dos Santos, I don't really care, But I do think they should probably. Nah, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I was about to say, because I know I can't leave y'all hanging and be like, never mind. And you be like, what was you about to say? I was thinking that they should add a woman to the Inner Circle. Because there's a lot of women in AEW who could use the rub, And I was thinking, since you have Paige Van Zandt and you have Kayla Harrison, who are both. Kayla Harrison is working, by the way, when she starts talking about how wrestling fans are stupid and wrestling is dumb. She's working because she's talking out of both sides of her mouth. She's also said how much fun she's having in AEW and all that kind of stuff. So she's working. So don't get upset. She's working. But I think that there needs to be a woman in the inner circle because they need the rub. Also, if you're going to have women that are involved with American Top Team, you need to have women to oppose them, right? That makes sense. So they should bring in a woman into the inner circle. And at least just to have, the point of the inner circle was to have all the divisions kind of covered, right? World champion was Jericho, tag team Santana and Ortiz. You had Jake Hager as the heater for Jericho, and then you had Sammy Guevara for that mid card division. But they never had anybody for the women's division. So why not? I mean, especially since the inner circle getting kind of stale anyway, inject some new blood into it. Bring a girl in. Why not? Even if you're gonna do nothing but have her Paige Van Sant, take a bump, take a clothesline or something like that from one of the girls, I would go for it. I would do that. I would have, especially if you're gonna have women involved on the other side, because the guys ain't gonna beat up the girls. So you got to bring in some of the girls. Now, which girl? I don't know. That part, you got me. I have no idea. I don't know who it could be. But maybe, well, I would say Penelope Ford, but she's a heel for starters. And secondly, she sucks. But that's the only one I can really think of that might actually fit the group. And then she's also married to that shrimp dick, Kip Sabian. I don't want it. I mean, if I was, if you put him and Sammy Guevara right next to each other, I swear, if it wasn't for Sammy Guevara being slightly more bronzed, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They're almost exactly the same size. They're both Ken dolls with no muscle definition, no body whatsoever, bird chest, weak looking chins, annoying as fuck. And I think her husband got thrown out of a helicopter or something like that because he ain't been back in forever. But they need to bring a woman into the inner circle. I don't see why not. I don't mind women being in factions. I think that, especially if you're going to have women in feuds, it always gives them a little bit of the rub if they were involved too. No big deal. Now, we did have a good promo here between Danielson and Eddie Kingston. Danielson just kind of stood there and let Eddie Kingston say what he had to say. And Eddie Kingston was offended that Bryan Danielson critiqued his work ethic. And Kingston says that he wakes up every morning and pops a Zoloft to keep him from hurting people, that he battles depression and then gets angry. Says, don't talk about work until you walk the mile in my shoes. He's tired of talking. He's tired of listening. So pardon his back. He turned around and walked away. And Bryan Danielson said, that's the guy I wanted to fight. That's the guy I wanted. That's the Eddie Kingston I want. And then he says that, everybody fights through something. Everybody's got something. I've been there. Everybody's got something they need to go through. And he said that Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley are the two toughest guys in the business. And that no doubt that Eddie Kingston works very hard. But he's going to beat them. And that's what he came here to do, is to beat these guys. And I enjoyed the fire both of them showed. And Danielson cut his promo very fiery. Unfortunately, Eddie Kingston just walked away from him. So it made Danielson seem real non-confrontational by just allowing Eddie Kingston to turn around. Like, he should have turned him around. Like, grabbed him by the arm and turned him around. And like, don't you turn your back on me, dog? What's wrong with you? Let them stare at each other. And then, Danielson cut that same promo, but in Eddie Kingston's face. Like, you ain't the only one suffering from depression. You ain't the only one having a tough life, having a tough time out here. Stop being a selfish prick, dog. But I like this. I'm actually looking forward to their match. And I like Eddie Kingston, even though I don't like his matches, because I don't like his style. It's too much like pseudo Japanese garbage. Okay, with it's just too much. But I love his persona, and his persona makes me want to see him in matches, and that's really what wrestling is about. So even if I didn't like a match, he is somebody that I'm looking out for. The Lucha Brothers challenged FTR. I'm going to shorten that up because who cares what Alex Abrahantes says? He doesn't have a strong enough chin to talk shit. So let's get to what I believe second best match of the night, behind CM Punk and Bobby Fish. Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida went out there and laid down the fucking law. They were really good. Serena Deeb is a fucking magician. And look, I liked Hikaru Shida when she was the champion. I hate to have seen how she's fallen off, but I really think that she has great chemistry with Serena Deeb, and these two could go forever. You know, I love their matches together, and I think Deeb is excellent. She's probably the best female wrestler in AEW right now. And if she didn't have the charisma of cardboard, I would love to see her get in there with some of the chicks from WWE. You know, I just know that she could probably really kick ass with Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley. And it would be really fun. But they would run circles around her on the microphone. She would look like a lost lamb out there trying to, you know, some of them do stuff that's a little extra choreographed too, especially Bianca Belair and Sasha, because Sasha is over choreographed with her matches. That would be a little bit different. But I think she really could bring out the best in other female wrestlers and show a different side of them. And it's unfortunate that she lost and she's not going to get a chance to do that. But Deeb has been one of the best female wrestlers throughout the entire pandemic when she was women's world champion for the NWA. And she remains, you know, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. She is very good. She gets the MagMongoSlade seal of approval. I will watch things with Serena Deeb in it. Okay? She is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, you know, it's all Deeb. But a hell of a lot of it is Deeb. You know. A lot of the submissions and, she did a great job of selling that stuff too. Especially he called it a reverse figure four, but it didn't look like a reverse figure four. I forget what they call it. But Hikaru Shida did a great job of selling it. So this match was tremendous. Shida gets her 50th win. Deeb chop blocked her, beat her with a chair. Gonna give her a good excuse to get eliminated in the next round. So this was very good. I hope they get a third match. I don't mind rematches when the matches are tight. This one was better than their previous match for sure. But both those matches are very, very fucking good. We got Leo and Dante Martin. Mike Slidell is injured, so now Dante will face Matt Slidell by himself. Leo Rush said words. Who cares? The second 10 guy versus John Moxley. I mean, John Moxley literally like ate this guy, and the guy was bleeding all over the place. His mask was torn, and it was just, you know, if he was gonna do all this to the guy, you should have just gave him a bye. You know, like, you know, why is he even wrestling this dude? You know, what's his name? Brandon Ralph. What the fuck is this kid's name? I don't know it. I really don't know it. Preston, right? Why is he wearing a mask? Everybody knows what his name is. Why is he wearing a mask? Doesn't matter. He was no competition with John Moxley. And I'm glad AEW didn't waste everybody's time by having it be a competitive match. They just had John Moxley go in there and eat him, which is good. Good. Moxley looked pretty upset too at one point. Maybe because dude gigged really wild. FTR accepted the challenge from Lucha Brothers. And that's the show, right? Yep, that's everything. Okay, sweet. I did it. We did it, y'all. We got to the end of this horse shit show. This was actually not a bad episode of Dynamite from an in-ring perspective, because you got two really, really, really good matches between really talented. Chemistry was there. Bobby Fish, CM Punk, Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida. Both of those matches had good chemistry, hard hitting, good submissions, good technique, good psychology. It was just surrounded by horse shit, you know. It was a lot of horse shit. The Sami Guevara stuff where he's just doing everything in his arsenal. None of it makes any sense. None of it even look like it hurts. You know, it's just him doing pretty moves. And then, of course, it's more the same in the main event with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and all those guys dressed like Ghostbusters. And you know they're stream crossers, right? You know they're crossing the streams. And they're doing it on purpose. They're weirdos. You know, you have Hangman Page dressed up like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You got Brandon Cutler, who apparently, even though he wasn't tied up, at least I don't think he was tied up. Was he tied up? I don't know. You know, but he got BTE triggered and all kind of stuff, and it was stupid. It was a stupid match. But how could it be anything else? Whenever the Elite are together, it's always dumb shit. You know? They're class clowns. And people got the nerve to be like, they're like the jocks in school. Like, what the fuck school did you go to? Oh, what school did you go to? I went to school with homeboys. You know? They didn't act like this. You know, they ain't act like that. So, but let me know what you guys thought of AEW Dynamite, AEW Halloween Havoc. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Like, share, subscribe, donate to the channel if you can. I would really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later.